Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, I really appreciate you taking your time out to talk with me. Um,
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
um, and how's your season going? Are you winding
We're
down yet?
yeah, we're way winding down. We've got we had five out last weekend. We have four out this weekend, and then two next weekend, and then we're pretty much done after that. Yeah.
Yeah, October. It's the end of the season for you.
Yeah.
When do you start, really?
We
Partially.
um we start getting rentals like here and there, I'd say like in March. And then April 1st, there's a big event. It's called the Odessa Desert 100, where a bunch of dirt bike riders come in from all over the place, and there's a big track out in Odessa. So we'll get mostly booked out for that, but then
Yeah.
it trickles after April a little bit, and we start getting busier in May, and then once June hits, we're kind of running. So
Wow.
that's kind of our season. September and August are by far hugest years. They're massive, especially August, September. It's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm here in actually I'm in Portland, Maine, so the
Oh,
other
cool.
northeast corner of the country, the right
Yeah.
coast. Um, so as I develop my business plan and um, plan on scaling, I guess, I really wonder about the seasonality and the effects of just being in this climate. You're in
Yeah.
a similar situation. And I've heard of some very successful um, fireside franchises in New York State
Hmm.
being very successful. And
Mm.
they're pretty much the exact same thing as Maine. Um, so that was my first concern. Um, you know,
Did you have you worked with Gar?
no, I've talked to them,
Yeah.
I've looked into, his opportunity, um, but I haven't pulled the trigger or anything like
Yeah.
that. Um, I don't think I'm quite the right candidate for them. Um,
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Gar's a
but
great guy. Really nice guy. Yeah.
oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, One of the ways I've connected or listened to you is through the RV Rentals Secrets podcast that you did with
Mm.
Stacy and Gar a while ago. And then I've seen a bunch of other videos that you've done on your own. I guess, but the one that really caught my attention initially was just the one on uh, RV consignment or RV
Yeah.
rental management.
Yeah.
And that was like a year and a half ago when I started doing my renting out my own one, and always been in the back of my mind. Um, so I remember you saying, if you could do it all over again, you would do these consignment.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess, the questions that I have um, revolve more around the marketing and um, the customer relationship that you have with other RV owners. So
Mm.
not the end
Okay.
user, but the sort of the business to business. And
Yeah.
um, that's the rub really is recruiting other RV owners to build the fleet, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
We've got a kind of a similar situation where actually he's going to be a full-time employee next year, and but I kind of did some sort of a, I don't know, mini franchise type program where he was running things um, kind of through our website, but I was renting out his on his behalf, but paying him a larger chunk and and stuff like that, just to help him get his business off the ground before. And it sounds like he's going to have 5+ units going into the next season, so it's been actually pretty fun. But
oh, good.
he's a friend of mine, local guy. We live in the same town and stuff like that. So he's going to be renting out a house, some property we just bought, and specifically for our RV rental business. And yeah, it's a lot of good stuff happening.
Great, great. Well, it's good of you to help this friend out.
Yeah.
Um, well, let me ask you. So, what are some of the marketing methods that you're using to recruit these RV owners and get them into your RV rental management? Uh,
So, I was going through some of those questions, and I'm kind of thinking about like that. Honestly, like we didn't do a ton of marketing towards finding other RV owners. It just came organically through our promotion of our RV rental business, and what we were doing. I didn't really start getting heavy into marketing towards like, hey, working with us, let us rent your RV out type stuff until probably I want to say after our first season, maybe first or second season. Um, and like I said, just as we were throwing things out there on Facebook, YouTube, just different kind of social media sites, we were just getting people saying, "Hey, I've got a camper. I know you got an RV rental business. Would you rent it out for me, or can you help me make my payment, or or something like that." Or we'd have people say, "Hey, are you looking to buy?" We have all the time people always asking, "Are you looking to buy campers?" And I say, "Nope, but I'll rent it out for you." you know, how does that work? And then you just start getting a conversation about it.
so
So,
are you talking
so
about like just posting in Facebook groups?
Yeah, well, Facebook, really just kind of Facebook in general. We've got a different Facebook page, and then I do a couple of Google ads that just focus on like RV rentals and RV rental business. I put a section on my website that talks about creating passive income. If you'd
Right.
like to do that, leave your contact information and then a picture of your unit and kind of a description of it. And then I call them back and talk through it and stuff. And if it's one that I think it'll rent well in our area, then we definitely make a hard, you know, um, effort on trying to bring that on board. But we've grown so much and have such a variety of renters that like just about everything we're bringing on is working, is renting. Some better than others, but the bunkhouse for sure is always kind of our most consistent. But a lot
Right.
of folks are bringing in 1 to 2 people units, four people units, stuff like that.
Yeah. So So it sounds like, I mean, I'm aware of your YouTube channels, and
hmm
you say you had a Facebook group page or Facebook page. Is this just for the business, or is this a sort of a separate kind of Facebook group?
Just for the business. And what we were doing is as we brought on new units or we're looking to kind of fill some of those weekends, we would just say, hey, we just brought on this new unit. Here's the model number. And we post a bunch of pictures and talked about our website and how you can book it and stuff like that. And just doing that, it created a lot of traction for us. A lot of the free sites. I did create a how to market your RV rental business. Kind of when we first started, and a lot of those ways really helped. TikTok, Facebook Marketplace, just things like that, right?
So you were creating your own community in a sense
Yeah, for
through,
sure.
through
Yeah, that was one thing I knew that as we were getting renters, we knew that we were going to have to take care of them. We're going to have to make sure that they're going to become return renters, and in turn, what's going to happen is they're going to refer people. So I had to start building that community and start talking to people, letting them know that we existed is really kind of what we're doing is just letting people know, hey, if you're looking to rent an RV or if you want to make a trip or whatever, or if you've never considered it, here it is, right? So
right.
yeah.
So did you ever, I mean, did you actively try and, I don't know, market or recruit RV owners other than sort of
Yeah.
these, some of these
Yeah.
passive things? Like, what were
Yeah,
some of
we
the
did.
techniques?
So my background is in sales and sales management. So I knew that it was just a matter of numbers. I didn't really care so much about, I wasn't targeting like a specific type of unit. I just knew that if I contacted enough people, I'd start filling a pipeline, and at least 1 to 2 people would be like, sure, I'll do it. And so some of the things I did is as I knew friends that had units, I'd reach out to them and say, hey, I don't know if you've heard, but I've got this business. We ran out RVs, and I got a profit sharing, co-sign program where we could, share some profits, stuff like that. And then just really kind of fill people out because I think around the time we got started is right after COVID or during COVID where
Hmm.
people were like buying them left and right, and they were
Right.
overspending, and it was just like now 2021 2022 when it started kind of slowing down, people are like, man, I've got this payment. I realized we only use it once or twice a year. What do I do with it, right? And there's still some people that are kind of trickling right now that we're still targeting. So the other things I would do is I would go through Facebook Marketplace and I would see the kind of unit that I wanted. And then I had a little paragraph, just introducing myself, letting them know who I was, and saying, you may or may be looking for this option, but I've got this option, I've got this business model. Here's what I do, and would you be interested? And
So do you mean when you would go onto the Facebook Marketplace and look for somebody who's selling their camper
yes,
and then
yep.
just
And knowing the market and knowing where their pricing was, I knew they weren't going to sell it. You're not going to sell a unit that's worth $20,000 for 45, which is what the dealerships were selling them for, you know.
right?
And so I knew that thing was going to sit for a while. So I would at least try to plant that seed just to let them know that I existed. And 6 months down the road, when it didn't sell and they kept, dropping the price, that they would at least consider it and maybe hear me out. And I did
Yeah,
have a few people that have reached out and we've had conversation and we brought it on board, you know.
yeah.
So
So would
yeah.
you describe it as sort of a soft sell, like, um, hey, are you interested in earning passive income?
Yeah.
And
Hey, so we'll do some role playing real quick. So hey, Eric, I noticed you've got this great bunkhouse. I have one similar on my website. Um, have you ever considered renting it out and creating some passive income? If so, I've got a great program. And that's how I would reach out to them, and I would
yeah,
chat with them about it. And then and a lot of them would say, nope, not interested. Nope, not interested. Nope, not interested. And then
right,
you
right,
had a few that would say, yeah, I'd love to hear more about it. And
right.
then
For
I
every you
immediately
try
just
10 and maybe one or two
yeah,
hit.
yeah, and I would get on getting on the phone with them is always the key because you can always handle their concerns, ahead of time. It's always, will it get damaged? Will it get beat up? Are people gonna, junk my trailer, right? What's the insurance look like? How much money am I gonna make? Stuff like that. And I just walk through those kind of processes and stuff.
Right.
And yeah, it's when people are kind of at ease and they hear your voice and they trust you a little bit, then you can kind of start developing a good relationship with them. And that's what I try to do with all my owners is have a good, solid relationship with them. They're
Right,
part of the
right,
family. Yeah.
right. I mean, you want to develop a rapport that you're professional,
Yeah.
you care as much about their asset as you do for your own.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, that's good. Um, well, how about some other, I mean, other like old school techniques? Like, I think I remember you going to like RV dealerships,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
campgrounds. Um,
Yeah.
like how, did you just hand them out like a business card or a flyer, and
You
how
know,
effective was that kind of thing?
I'm glad you brought that up because actually now we're starting to see a lot of fruit of that. Like in the beginning, so there's a place here locally, Click It RV. It's a pretty big dealership in the local area, and we dropped off our business cards. We actually have these flyers where we would just, again, let them know that we existed. We rent out RVs. You might have some people that want to come back in and trade in their unit, but maybe they're upside down on it. Here's an option, right? And we've gotten actually quite a bit of people. I just recently got a referral the other day from a guy who's got a 42 foot Palomino Puma. It's a 2022 beautiful unit. It's like basically a park model type home, but I've been wanting one of those for a long time, and I was getting ready to go look at one to potentially buy one, and I was like, hey, there you are. But
Perfect.
he bought it, lived in it, built a house, doesn't use it anymore. Went to the dealership and said, hey, would you guys take this back on trade-in or co-assignment? They're like, well, you kind of owe too much on it. Why don't you reach out to Lewis and he'll probably rent it out for you. And we've got a number of those. I want to say probably 6, 7 units we've gotten from people that are referring them to us, our dealerships that are referring them to us. We've gotten, gosh, I want to say 3 or 4 from this other outfit in Tri Cities, Broadmoor RV. They do a great job. We've bought a couple units from them. Actually, we've bought 3 units from them. And every so often we get a person that calls us and said, hey, I heard you guys rent out RVs. I'm considering, looking for a management company that would manage it for me.
Right.
So yeah, that has helped a lot.
So you've had a previous relationship with these dealers because you've bought from them. So you
Yeah.
kind of have helped them out. You've given back in some way,
Yeah.
um, and you're just not asking for something. Um, um, and they refer to you because I guess the owner of the RV owed too much in didn't want to make the deal with the RV dealership.
Yeah,
The price imbalance, and so the next option was RV rental management.
yeah, yeah,
Right, right, okay.
yeah. So they in turn reach out to us, and yeah, we have that whole conversation and stuff like that. But I don't spend a lot of time doing that anymore because just organically, one, we've got a ton of units now, and organically, we just keep every month we at least get 1 to 2 people that are looking to bring some on. So we're a little bit more selective now, but we've got 50 plus RVs that we rent out, and we're on the road to 75 to 100. Hopefully over the next couple of years, and really make this thing into a big multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's some significant growing pains to figure out how to
Oh gosh,
scale that up. And I mean, and
very
I'm
much.
curious
Yeah,
about that too. I've heard you
yeah.
talk about that in the RV Rental Secrets podcast, but um, well, let me see. Let me ask you, going back to sort of the personal one-on-one stuff. So you've gone to like RV dealerships. Would you go to campgrounds as well,
Mhm.
or RV repair shops? And what kind of a, I don't know, you make to them?
I feel, let's see. So we did a couple of RV parks, and the type, I mean, you're going to have avid RV renters, right? That probably rent out quite a bit. So there's going to be some competition there, is what we've learned. So you got to be kind of real selective with how you're quoting them out. Just kind of making sure that it's competitive. Otherwise, if you just kind of go at them just as your kind of normal rate, I mean, you're just going to basically price yourself out of the market, right? So they're looking for a rental, but they're also shopping. So that's what we have found when you get the people from RV parks, and we have a good relationship with the family down here in Mardon Resort, where they have our flyer up, and it's got a QR code on it. So if anybody is looking for a rental, then they
Yeah.
basically refer them to us. And we've gotten a couple renters, but no, I wouldn't say any consignments or anything like that.
Oh, really? So,
Yeah, more or less rentals, I would say, is what we've got from RV parks. Yeah,
oh, um, same thing. I assume RV parks, campgrounds,
yeah,
one and the
same
same.
thing. Yep, yep.
Yeah. Um, did you ever make any connections or partnerships with RV repair shops? Besides
Um,
dealership?
yes and no. So in our market, so one of our main RV repair shops that I go through is a fellow RV renter. So he's got his own business that they rent out about. He's got about 20 units in this area. So he's more or less competition, but around here there's so much business to go around. Like, I don't look at it as competition. I mean, we all have RVs we rent out, and we all pretty much stay booked out, right?
Yeah.
So for him, for me, it's just, yeah, not necessarily any sort of shops. Then we had a couple of guys I tried to develop some relationships with, but their prices were just ridiculous as far as the repairs, and they didn't want to work any deal out, which really didn't make any sense to me because I was always going to make sure they had work, because
Right.
things always break in RVs. There's always something going on with them, and you always need a repair guy.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Well, let me skip to that part, I guess. Like with 50 RVs, you must have to deal with maintenance and wear and tear
yeah.
and required stuff. So can you tell me a little bit about your staffing structure and how you handle those repairs and some of the other duties like, I don't know, delivery, cleaning, and I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
any
That's
other any
good
other
questions. So as far as cleaners go, we have 3 to 4 main cleaners that clean Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, right? And as the units come in on Sundays and they come on Mondays, we strip bedding and all that stuff. We get all the laundry done, and then they start kind of going through the units and getting them all cleaned out and stuff. So people leave food, garbage, certain things like that. So there's all that process. And then Thursday, Friday, we kind of have the crew that, whatever they missed or had time for, that they would kind of follow up and clean up whatever's left, and then make bedding. and then making sure that the units had everything that we tell our renters that they're going to have. So all the linens, all the towels, hand soaps, certain things like that. So they would go through and just go off a checklist and make sure that it's all in there. So as you can
Let me ask you one
imagine, like
quick
week to
question.
week,
Do
yeah,
you said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Does that mean that you rent mostly like 3-day weekends, or do
yeah. Our
you
average
do
rental is 4 days. Yeah, so
really?
anywhere from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, sometimes Monday. So mostly weekends. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And
But you
then
don't have
we
a
do have
long minimum number of nights, like days or something like
just 2 nights. I just do 2 nights. Yeah, yeah. So
really?
the where we're at around here, like the venue that we have, I mean, you're only going to get 2 to 3 nights. There's
Oh,
a lot of
George.
campsites up north, which we get those also that they're 5 to 7 nights, and we've
Yeah.
got some up to 10 nights at times. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, that makes sense now why you have your cleaners sort of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because
yeah,
they're in your lay down yard there.
yeah. And if we're completely booked out at a concert where they're coming back on Mondays, we just have them start those. We'll have them start Monday, but a little bit later as we start bringing the units back, and then they'll just start cleaning them as we're bringing them back and stuff like that. So
You're right.
so week to week, yeah, so you've got the cleaners, and then my wife and I are constantly just navigating every single week, navigating, what's going out Thursday, what's going out Friday, how many drivers we're going to need. And then we try to keep a list of probably 10 to 15 drivers always on hand. And then probably I would say between my wife and I, we have 6 tow vehicles, and then we've got friends that have 3,500 diesel trucks and stuff like this. So they can pretty much tow anything. So we try to
So
have about at least 5 to 6 people that are always week to week available.
so you own 5 or 6 vehicles yourself?
Yeah, we got 5 trucks, and then I bought my wife a diesel Suburban that tows 8,300 pounds. So a lot of the smaller ones, medium ones, she can tow.
Okay, so like if you got like even if there's, I'm just thinking of like multipliers here. If you got a fleet of 50, you like want one vehicle per 10 units,
Yes. That
something
that
like.
is actually what I was going to say is that what we've learned is the ratio is for about every 10 units you want to have at least 1 to 2 tow vehicles. So there's going to be like I'll tell you we've delivered 50 units in one day, and
Oh,
we've had lots of help. So every one of my
wow.
trucks are running, right, and then a couple of my other friends. So we've got 9, 10 drivers, and you're doing about 5 trips a day, and so yeah, it gets wild,
Wait, 5 trips? One person's doing 5 trips?
5 trips in a day. Yeah, we normally do 3 to 5 to 6 trips in a day. Like it's so condensed where we're at because we have concerts that literally we gotta all get them in on one day, and we got to pick them all up on one day. So if I've got 15, 20 units there, that means Wednesday, the drop off day is we're dropping 15 units there, and we got to have a plan in place.
Wow, you sure do.
So
That's like the worst case scenario in my mind. I'm like, oh my God, you
no,
are running ragged.
that's
Whoa.
oh
Or
yeah,
you just have to
you're
have a huge fleet just to haul all those things and
yeah,
a
it's
good
it's wild.
relationship with your drivers and pay
Yeah.
them well.
And you got to have good relationships with everybody. I mean, you got to got got we've got great relationships with the venue people. They know us, by name. When we come, they work with us, we work with them. It's got to be quick because you can't not, you know, fart around with trying to figure things out while you're there when you've got 15, 20 more units that need to come in. It's just it all has to be in place, and you got to just communicate a lot, a ton. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
a lot goes into that. A lot of planning, a lot of navigating for sure. And then while the units are there, we gotta navigate. Okay, well, which ones need generators? Which one needs tables? Which ones need, coolers? Ice chests. Certain things like that. And my wife does a great job of putting lists together, and we do a Google Drive so that other people can look at it, right? So it's not just us. We all have visibility on it. So whoever's picking up that unit, say number 23, which is this unit, oh, number 23 needs a cooler, number 23 needs a generator and some fuel. So we need to make sure and get those things.
Right,
right?
right,
So it's that's how we try to stay organized in our processes and stuff.
right. I use Google
Yeah,
Docs all the time myself. So,
yeah,
I mean, in the Google Doc, you also have like an assigned driver,
yep,
client's
yeah.
name, client's phone number, stuff like that.
Yeah, and we
Probably
let
some
actually
location.
we let a lot of our drivers look at it and go, oh, I'll pick up the mallard, or oh, I'll pick up the puma, or oh, I see this one's available. I'll pick. I have Jimmy. Jimmy's kind of our lighter, truck, so I'll pick up the cruise light or whatever. You know what I mean? So they can look at it and they can pick the ones that they want to go get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, that's very interesting. Um, well, one other question that's sort of related is like, what are some of your important values that you have that you talk about with your staff and your drivers and your cleaners?
Yeah.
Um, how important are values to you?
Oh, big time. I mean, it's everything to us. We started this business, our story is my father-in-law passed away a few years back, and it was sudden. And my wife and I, we kind of came together and said we need to live more life. And she's like, let's go, let's get a camper, let's go out and camp, let's experience more life. And that kind of became our motto: invest in experiences. That's where we spend our money, is in experiences rather than things, right? And so when it comes to us going out there and creating memories and doing those things, like, we took that into our business. All these families. I mean, we have over 1,000 customers and clients that rent from us. We've got 300 to 400 rentals every single season, and these are family trips, family vacations. So part of our value is that we serve these people. We do all that we can to make sure that they're creating incredible experiences. And so for us, it's all about how can we make this experience the best experience they've ever had, utilizing our RVs, right? So we take a lot of care in making sure that they're clean, that they're functional, that they're not having to stress about anything. You know what I mean? So we do a lot of kind of, we call it managing expectations. A lot of communication on the front end will go so long. Like if you went camping and there was, say, some little issue with your toilet that just you knew about it as the owner, and it's just a weird little thing, and if you don't tell the renter about it, it's going to cause a flood, or it could cause something stupid to happen. Well, we have those conversations with folks, and we say, hey, I've got this unit. There's this little finicky things going on right now. I don't know. We try to fix it. Here's what's going on, and here's a simple fix. All you need to do is that. So when it happens, I go, oh, Lewis told us this was going to happen. So here's how to fix it. All right. So we spend a ton of time. Communication is by far probably our biggest strength, I would say. People love that we get back to them right away. We don't let things fester. We try to beat them to the punch. We understand that when people are flying in from all over the country to go to these concerts and venues, it's like they're stressed out already just trying to catch a flight. So we don't want to add to that. We want to take away from that. We want the whole experience to just for them to come to our units and go, wow, everything's already set up and done for me. I don't have to do anything, right? And that
Right,
has all the things I need for camping. I don't have to do anything.
right,
So that's kind of our goal. And when we have conversations with a lot of our drivers and the people that are involved with just interacting with all of our renters, and we tell them that we treat them as family. And you'll see, like, if you get around us and our renters and you get to know them, like, they love us. And not all of them are perfect. Not every one of them has been a great experience, but for the majority of the time, those aren't the ones that the ones that are always nitpicky and crying about stuff. um I'd say 90% of them, they're going to rent from us for a very long time, as long
right,
as we continue to keep to hold that value up and provide a great service. You know what I mean? So
right, right.
yeah, that stuff's important to us.
Um, so, um, you and your wife probably handle a lot of the inquiries, but you can't be interacting with all your customers all the time. And so I would imagine your staff, your drivers, they must um, also believe in these values too.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. We do. We focus a lot on the types of people that work for us, like on just that. It's like the customer service aspect of it is my job. I deal with probably 99% of all of the customer service type things, issues and stuff like that. So when it comes to them delivering and the renter happens to be there and we're getting things set up for them and stuff like that, like I make sure that they know, like the importance is just to make sure that they're leaving that unit, everything's functional, everything's working, and we are not leaving until it is, and everything's level, and they're going to have a great experience. So everyone knows that, and that's kind of I think one of the exciting things about it is all of them kind of have that same kind of drive and passion and want to serve the renter. And it's not a chore. It's hard work, but it's not a chore. It's something that we actually enjoy doing.
Right.
And so yeah, yeah,
Yeah, those are the people you want to try and connect to and share your values with them so they just live it too.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
the other thing I'll tell you with when it comes to what we supply, we always talk about having integrity, and if you go on our listings and you go on our website, like we're pretty universal in what we carry in every single one of our units. So it's an RV rug, a couple of chairs, or four chairs, all these different things. And if we don't have them in that unit, well, there's been a lot of times where maybe a chair's broken, the renter never told us. Well, it disappeared, and there's only three chairs instead of four. We'll go out and take a chair down. It's that important to us that we have integrity with everything that we offer in it, right? And
Yeah,
then of course we got to go back to why didn't it get checked off when it came back and it got cleaned up and stuff like that? Why didn't we check and see if there's that extra, chair in there or whatever, but like things get missed, so we always have integrity in what we say that we're gonna provide to our renters, because again, they're traveling across the country, they're making lists of things that they need to pack themselves, and if they look at our list and say, oh, I don't need to pack that, he's got it, and they get there and they can't cook dinner because we forgot a pan or a pot, we got to take it to them, so that's just kind of part of the process. Yeah.
yeah, that's a big haul trying to get back into the gorge, something like that. Ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
that's great. Okay, so you've I kind of understand like how you plan for cleaners and drivers. How about I don't know other staff? I guess you have fleet managers or mobile RV techs.
Yeah.
How do you handle maintenance, the required um, RV maintenance stuff?
Yeah. So when we first started, obviously we didn't have that many units, right? So, YouTube University was great, trying to learn how to fix things that were pretty simple and easy, Um, but bigger issues, and we can handle just about anything, but bigger issues like big electrical issues or AC, compressors, not like you need help for that, unless you're actually a certified RV tech and you've gone to school and you know that stuff, but we haven't. So for us, I always encourage, potential RV owners, RV rental business owners, to always have a list of 2 to 3 techs always on hand, because what you're going to run into if you've got a unit, and I see this all the time on all the Outdoorsy and RV share forums and stuff like that. These guys that have 1 and 2 units, they literally will cancel their whole season because they got to get it in the shop. You don't have to get it in the shop unless you really, really need to get it in the shop.
Right,
Like if you've got a side door panel that's just not working, tell the next renter that. If you've got an awning that just got destroyed because of the wind, buy a pop-up. They're $100 and tell your renter, hey, I just want to let you know my awning's not working anymore. Rather than canceling on you, I'm going to get you a pop-up. And then wait till the end of the season and get it fixed.
right.
I mean, that's taking care of the customer, and communicating and letting them know. We've had so many scenarios like that where I've had a black tank fall in the middle of a rental. And rather than canceling the trip, I said, we can bring it out, we'll hoist it up. Everything works, everything's still connected as far as like the stuff comes in. We'll deal with the mess after that. What do you want to do? Well, we'll let you guys deal with it. We'll just go camping, right? Because they don't really care about it.
Yeah,
But you communicate with them like worst case scenario, and you let them know. And then having a lot of these RV techs, kind of at the ready. I mean, I've had scenarios where literally we had a camper at the gorge. They forgot to turn off a irrigation system. They call it a pivot, and it literally drove right over and tore off the air conditioner. And the renter is supposed to show up that day. So I get a phone call in the morning saying, hey, you're not going to be happy. We forgot to turn off the pivot and it just destroyed your air conditioner. Well, we've got plenty of units. I luckily didn't have them all going out. So I said, I'll go and I'll replace one. Called up my repair guy. I said, hey, it just happened. He understands because he's got his own RV rental business.
Yeah.
I brought it in literally within the next 30 minutes. He
Yeah.
ordered the part. It got there the next day. It got fixed. It was done by Monday. And I had it for the next weekend.
Right. Right.
You know, so you always just got to be thinking ahead all the time because, I mean, literally stuff is always going to happen with RVs.
Yeah.
That's just the name of the game.
I am
Yeah.
going to school with the NRVTA to become a RV certified tech myself
Oh, awesome.
later
Awesome.
on. That's kind of part of my central plan is really
Yeah.
being take care of, units in my fleet and then other people's too.
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
part of the reason we bought this property is we want to, because we're so big now, we want to actually start our RV mobile tech business. So I'm gonna probably look for a kid that is single that that I can send him to school, get him taught up, and he'll be our RV tech, and I'll get him a truck, and then we'll be able to provide the service. But I want our units obviously to be taken care of first and
right, right.
foremost. Yeah.
Do you rent or do you charge your RV owners like a storage fee?
We don't currently. But with this new property, we're looking at upping their commission from going from a 60-40 split to probably a 50-50, and then just charge them a very, very low, like $25 a month storage fee.
Yeah. So they get the
Um,
60 and you get the 40?
no, we get the 60, they get the 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because part of that reason is I want the experience for the owners to be great. Like, I don't want the owners to always be stressed out going, man, Lewis is always asking me for money because something's always breaking, right? So rather than nickel and diming you, I'm going to cover it. We're going to cover a $150 repair. We're going to cover a $250, motherboard when it goes out on a hot water tank. Like, we're going to cover that stuff. That's why we do the 60-40. And I think it's fair. I think it's 100% fair because things happen,
Okay.
as you're using the unit. But if we go up a little bit more and just charge them a storage fee, I'm even considering doing like a 60-40 them, but then they pay for all the repairs that happen.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, it's, yeah. I like the tax
Yeah.
write-off because when you have that much of cash flow coming in, you need the tax write-off. So I don't mind paying for them, buying them, and then repairing them and all that stuff. So,
Right. Um, if excuse me for a second, if we get bumped out of this meeting, can we join back in with the same link again?
I think so, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
it should be
so.
fine.
It might just drop us in a minute or two, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, there's just 1 minute remaining, so I think we'll get bumped off, and then I think if I'll just reopen the same meeting again,
Okay.
if you don't mind. Um, well, I guess part of my plan was to do something like a 50-50 split, but still have the owners be responsible for the cost of regular wear and
Yeah.
tear, required maintenance. Um, um, well, let me ask you about the technology that you use. What kind of technology do you use to manage your fleet operations? I noticed
Wheel,
like wheelbase.
yeah, Wheelbase Pro does a lot of, the scheduling is great. And the booking and all that stuff, it's seamless. Like, people don't have I hardly have any people with issues. It's just more of a user error type issue. But 99% of the renters they can